Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our summer webinar series. Today, we have the team from Principal Industries here to discuss the new combined product line and more of the new Principal Sloan.
Good afternoon. My name is Derek Hopper. I am the VP of Engineering here at Principal Sloan, Principal Industries, a bunch of different names for us these days. But on the call today from our end, we have Sam DeMeo, our president, as well as Daryl Boardman, our senior VP of sales, and Lauren Conway, our director of marketing. And we are excited to get to share you the roadmap that we've come up with, the combined product offerings, and kind of go through them. And please feel free, especially in this setup where we're on Teams. There's going to be plenty of opportunities and a lot of information today. So if you guys have a question, feel free to interrupt whoever's talking at that point to ask a question, and we will be happy to address it as they come.
I'm going to jump in here for just a second before we get started on the product lineup, just to bring your attention to our new website. So if you haven't seen, we have combined the Principal Sloan product lines onto our new site that's comprehensive of the entire product line, all rebranded. All data sheets now say Principal Sloan, and we're working on some of those less used documents getting updated as well, but you'll see everything rebranded here on principalsloan.com. If you've still been visiting p-led.com, it will be up for a few more weeks, but then it will start to redirect you here to Principal Sloan. So jump in now and start getting used to it, because p-led will not be around for a whole lot longer. SloanLED.com will remain active, but it will start to focus on international signage and some of our specialty lighting, so it won't be directed toward North American sign products. So please get used to principalsloan.com and visit that, check it out. We have increased the amount of educational content we have on our site, and we will continue to do so. So you can visit the Principal Sloan U page for lots of training videos and terminology and symbols, guides, and glossaries, and just different things that you can use both for knowledge for yourself and for training new employees or people in the field. And then another part of our new website is the combined easy layout builder. So you'll now find our comprehensive product line on one easy layout builder housed on the principalsloan.com website. And it does include multiple languages and imperial and metric if you find yourself needing that for any reason. And that's a new version of Easy Layout Builder. So as we continue to evolve this thing and grow our product line, you'll continue to see our site improve and more resources added. But we just wanted to bring your attention to this today so that you know it's there. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the guys to talk y'all through the Principal Sloan product lineup.
Sounds like a plan. So a lot of what we've done over the last few months after the combined co was announced and we started moving forward was working towards this Principal Sloan and a combined product offering that took the frankly quite a lot of overlap. Obviously, you know, from two competing companies that became one, there were a lot of products that achieved the same thing. And we wanted to make sure that we were going through and finding both new products to both companies as well as existing lines and figure out what made the most sense for you as our customers. And we're excited to share what we've come up with. So you can break it out in a couple different ways on what we have. You have, as you can see on the left-hand side, you have your promote category and your support category. That's really going to be more along the lines of support will be existing products that we had from both companies that we are going to continue to have. They are not going anywhere, and I cannot stress that enough. Everything you see on this list is not going anywhere, whether it's in promote or support. That really comes down more to a matter of how we are taking it to the market. What are we doing with it? Are we really trying to push it forward in what we're using, or is this going to be something that for those people out there that already like what they use and don't want to change, we want you to know that we're going to continue to push forward with those products as well. So on the support side, you can see we have our QuickMod family, the various Patriot models in both modules and sticks, the sign box, both 2 and 3, prism beam assemblies from the Sloan side of things, all of our micro drivers and various other prism in both 12 and 24. We also will now, as you can see on the very right-hand bottom side with our assemblies, we have the Prism Synergy sticks, which we will go over in more detail here in a little bit. On the top end side with the promote, we, if you guys were involved in any of the webinars we had last month in June, we did launch our new complete line of Energizer series, which is both a wide variety of capacities in 12 and 24 volt. We do also offer a 12 and 60 watt, or I'm sorry, a 12 and 24 volt 60 watt in a plastic case now through Ventex as well. But as always, we also have it broken out into good, better, best. So you can see on our modules, we have our choice, the tap out sticks as always, and then better is going to be your middle of the road, good quality product but is going to be a good day-to-day lineup for any of the shops out there that just need something that is budget friendly, but doesn't cut any corners in its production. And then on the final tab, we have our Prism line, which again, we'll go over in more detail, which we're really aiming towards the spec market in particular.
Yeah, so some of the information you'll see today, you'll see multiple times in different formats, just lined out in different ways, depending on how you prefer to see it. So let's jump into modules first.
So on the modules, as you saw a second ago, we have broken out into the good, better, best. On our 12 volt side of things, just to cover the gambit of everything that we're offering, you have the Street Fighter Choice series, which is the Choice and Choice HO. The Prism 12 volt, which still comes in all the various CCTs, outputs, and colors. QuickMod series, which will again continue to offer the same output and series. The 12 volt tap out modules will continue to be available, as well as the stick. And then one thing that will be new to anyone that's incumbent from the PLED side only, we have decided to drop the Street Fighter RGB in favor of adopting the Sloan option that they had, which was the Spectrum RGBW. Still functions the same way as any of our Street Fighter RGB did, but now it does have the extra benefit of being a quad chip that has the light integrated in. On the 24 volt end of things, we have our full gambit of Patriot modules, same for Prism 24, and we will, at one asterisk on the QuickMod 24, we do have QuickMod 7100 and 24 volt and QuickMod 2 at the moment. We are expanding that line, so before the end of the year, we will be offering it in a new linear version of QuickMod 4 rather than the square on the 12 volt side, and that will be in all the CCTs. And then on QuickMod 2, we will be offering the colors as well in red, blue, and green. We also have the tap out HEs, which we're running a program on right now with some HE power supplies, and the Prism Synergy. Okay, QuickMod series. This is bread and butter. This is our, as I said, something that is good quality, but not at a price that's going to break the bank. It has the exposed aluminum heatsink to make sure that you have adequate heat dissipation, no matter which version you're using. And this will only lead to an extended life of your product. One thing to note on all of our products in the QuickMod series and Synergy in particular is we always design them to make sure that we have plenty of headroom on the capacity of the LED. And all of that is a lot of big words to say that we make sure that it's never running at 100% to the point where we're putting too much strain on it. That helps us with making sure that we can do longer leads when we're doing in series, and it makes sure that it won't overheat and fail. So the life, we stand behind the 10-year warranty on these products as a result of it. You can see the specifications there on the table on the bottom left. QuickMod 1 comes in the various CCTs, 41, 5000, and 71. QuickMod 2 comes in all of the CCTs as well, from 27 all the way to 71. And then QuickMod 3 and 4 also have the limited in the 41, 5000, and 71. All the specs are there. If there's anything specific you want to go through, we can touch base on that, but I don't want to sit here and spend all of our time reading straight off data sheets. So you can see the mods per foot information and things of that nature off to the right there as well.
We do have a question about the warranty on QuickMod. So we have been promoting and talking about a life of sign warranty. That's what the question was about. That is for our Prism Synergy series that we'll cover here in just a minute. But you can see for the QuickMod series that this warranty is a 10 and 5.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sticking within the QuickMod series, just going through a different bit of a platform. These are going to be our offerings of Mini. If you guys are familiar as well, we also are going to go over in a little bit, if we have it, is the Prism Nano. Very similar applications. These are going to be good when you have really small, narrow channel letters and don't have a lot of space to work in. These are very small. The QuickMod 1 HD comes in 6 mods per foot, and is just really good to get into those tight spaces that other modules might not be able to, while maintaining an even spread of light in those shallower applications. All the specs are here. You can see that it does have a cat eye optic on it. It's kind of just what we've come to, name it, because you can see on the top right, it's a 180 by 140, which means that because of the proximity on the HD, where the gap between the modules is smaller, we have a narrow beam of light between them because the overlap happens faster. And then from side to side, we have it at the 180 to make sure we get maximum stroke coverage in a channel letter.
Okay, perfect. So that was sort of the bread and butter 12 volt. So we'll move on to the 24 volt series that we wanted to discuss as well.
So this is the new one that, like I said, last month we did launch. We did do a big launch that included our new Energizer line that we'll touch base on here in a bit. But we also launched our new specification type series in Prism Synergy. This is, Sam, I may let you, kind of tag you in terms of, where you see this really being pushed in both the wider distribution market as well as the specification work. But Sam's team and myself and my team worked very closely for a long time on this, and really getting feedback from you or the customers on what you want in a specification series. And we made sure to include every bell and whistle we could think of. The board itself on top will have the UL information as well as the UL part number. On the side, you can see in the picture about halfway down, and on most of them, that on the side of the module, the SKU, which includes the color temperature, is indicated on there, along with the date code for traceability. And then these also are all in 24 volt and constant current.
Thank you, Derek. This is Sam DeMayo. This product line, Prism Synergy, is really pointed in two directions. The first would be the program world. And the reason for that is it's a robust system. It's very well built, and it carries the life of the sign warranty. So for the life of the sign, we are warranting the LEDs for the life of the sign. Now that's an unaltered sign. So if you don't make drastic changes to the sign, where we are saying that the LEDs will last for the life of the sign. That's important in the program world. And it's also, when I said it was pointed at two markets, one was programs, and the other is a customer who values a long warranty. Many end users, some sign builders value that extended warranty, and it's hard to get any more extensive than life of the sign, right? So that's where this product is pointed. As Derek mentioned, when we brought two companies together, we had to consolidate some things. And one of the things that we found out is that Sloan was working on an update to Prism. We were working on a product line pointed at the spec world, and we brought both worlds together, used the same chip that we were both looking at, and have come up with our latest in Prism Synergy. The initial reaction from the market has been very good. We've been successful in putting it in a lot of specifications. probably many more to come. And when we look at our partners in Tube Light, they play in that specification world very well. And we're having this call today with Tube Light and their customers to introduce this product line. All right.
Yeah,
Derek,
absolutely. If there's any other questions, please feel free to put those in the Q&A section, and we'll address those. But yeah, thank you, Sam. That's a great summary of what we're doing here with Prism Synergy.
And we try to partner this with the HE power supply.
Mhm.
Derek, you might want to comment on the HE power supply a bit, but that's
Yeah.
where we'd like to see it be used with the HE power supply.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Sam nailed it. So one of the things that we came out with, as I said, was the Energizer series, and we'll dive more into kind of what makes those different here in a little bit compared to the HEs. But to Sam's point, the HE line of drivers is going to be, when we looked earlier in that good, better, best category, those are going to fall into the best. They are same capacity, as what you're used to, both, class 2, UL, all that good stuff, but they are power factor corrected. So especially when you're looking at specification work where it's not just installers or, sign shops, anything like that, but you're also dealing with the end user themselves and the companies themselves that are trying to be very cognizant of their energy use. This is where those are going to fall into play. You have a high efficacy product in this new Synergy line, and pairing it with a power factor corrected driver is just going to take that energy savings angle to the next level for those customers that are looking for it.
We do have a question to just further clarify what qualifies life of sign, or what you consider reasonable terms on a sign that might not look up to par.
Help me understand on which, yeah, I guess I'm not following.
So we can circle back here in just a minute.
Yeah.
We don't want to put anybody on the spot. But we can get back to this and continue the conversation at the end when we finish up as well.
Well, when it comes to life of the sign, we're talking about ending the life of the sign. Like if the sign falls down due to weather, but as long as the sign isn't dramatically altered, the LEDs will last the life of that sign.
Yes.
And that's what we're warranting.
Mm-hmm. And the big thing is too, it does only, I think, I believe we mentioned it in one of these bullets, but, the big thing too is that warranty also only extends to the original installer of the sign. So if, that's where the documentation and a warranty process of making sure all the paperwork is submitted in the appropriate manner comes into play. Because if the hope is that it'll also help you guys as a sign shop working with the end user, whoever you're making the sign for, of letting them know that, hey, it comes with this great warranty, you have life of the sign, but it also helps you guys out from a service work standpoint, because it gives them extra incentive to make sure if something does go wrong on that sign, that they're calling you to get that service work. Otherwise, if they go to someone else, they may end up having to pay more because that other sign shop that didn't do the initial installation, that can't show that they were the ones involved to begin with, they're not going to have that option or the life of the sign warranty extended to them.
Okay, great. We'll move on, and then please again just send in those questions so we can further clarify if needed. So Derek briefly mentioned this one earlier, but we'll circle back to Spectrum.
Mm-hmm. So again, this is very straightforward. We're just taking the Street Fighter RGB module that we had carried forever on the PLED side, and to Sam's point and my point earlier of consolidating lines, there was no real need to have both a strictly RGB and then an RGBW module, when obviously the RGBW module can do everything that the RGB one did. So that's what we did here. This is going to be a similar application. If you do need a color changing module in a channel letter set or a cabinet, anything like that, it just comes with the extra option of having a true dedicated white.
And at the end of today's presentation, we'll briefly touch on some of our controllers and options that compare with this module as well. Okay, let's move on to cabinet signs.
So again, as we went over with modules a minute ago, this is going to cover just the brief overview of the various products we have in different voltages for cabinets. We have the Signbox 2. We do also have the 3 available. These are just kind of the high point ones that we have on this slide. The Street Fighter Pod and Pod HO, as well as the poster box on the Sloan end. All of those are going to be for your blade sign applications where it's, you know, double-sided or just a very shallow one where maybe putting in a baffle and just loading it with LEDs isn't as cost effective versus something with a optic that you can mount to the returns and just flood light in to the middle. We have the tap out stick as mentioned before. And then on the 24-volt side, we have the Patriot stick in both the XL and XL Deep option, our Pinnacle HE 24 volts, and the 2 different versions of Prism Synergy in both the Deep and HO, which we'll go over those in more detail and what the difference between a Deep and a standard stick are in those. We also have the Prism Beam 24 and the Signbox 3. Yeah.
And as y'all might be picking up as we're going through this, we're not going to talk through every single product, but we picked a few that we're focusing on and thought that might be most applicable to you all. So if there is a question on a product we don't cover, please feel free to send that too.
So starting with the Prism Synergy Stick Deep, you know, when we go about thinking how we're making these products, a couple different things come to mind is application as well as do you have a one-trick pony or I'm sorry, a jack of all trades that can do every single thing, or do you need to try to separate it out and make sure that you can, you know, not offer so many options that it becomes overwhelming, but you can at least make sure that you have a product that'll work in 90% of the applications you have. And that's where we have our differentiator in the deep sticks. These are going to be products that are going to have more output per stick because especially on the Synergy one, we increase the spacing between the modules from 1.2 to 1.8, so almost 2 per foot. And then we also opted to make an option that had a 140 optic versus a 170 optic. Now, why would we do that? This is going to be a very niche item that you're going to use in deep cabinet applications, single or double-sided. But if you are any amount of, you know, distance away from the face where your optic starts to work against you because, you know, light and distance, everything like that is an inverse, you know, how much light you get to the face is an inverse square function of the depth from the cabinet face to the product itself. So while a 170 optic is great when you are doing channel letters or cabinets that you don't have a lot of distance between the backer and the face, you get a lot of light spread, got a coverage, you can make sure you're using minimal amount of product. When you start passing a certain threshold, which I would say is probably 10 to 12 inches away from the face, you get into a situation where, yes, you are still getting a great spread. So you can go further apart or you can maintain the 12-inch spacing, whatever you choose to use, and it'll be an evenly lit sign. But the deeper you go, you're now losing brightness to the face because the light just can't get there. It'll bounce around, but you're just losing some. Having a non-optic like the 140, like we have in the deep, is going to be good because now that light is far more directional and will go straight at the face rather than bouncing around and losing it in the meantime. Moving on to the tap out sticks, we've got most of you, I'm sure, if you guys have used this for any amount of time, have seen this. This is our bread and butter, so to speak. It's a really good option. We've had it in 12 volt forever. 160 low dome optic. This is going to be a product that you're really focusing on a customer that likes it bright. It's system cost is a little bit different because you do have, especially at the bigger sizes, you're not going to get as many sticks per driver as you might with something like the Pinnacle or Synergy or Prism Beam. However, you have a bright product with a lot of modules per foot, and it is going to blow everything out of the water. This is going to be for the customer that just says, hey, energy savings aside, I want something that I've got a competitor across the road, and I want to make sure that no matter what happens, I'm always brighter than him. And that's going to be the go-to product for that. Signbox 2 and 3 both offer a unique solution outside of sticks, especially for cabinets. I would recommend using these when you have an application. The one that came to mind is just these massive cabinets where sticks aren't practical. The sticks and the retrofit extrusion will work in anything from 18-inch to 10-foot signs, which is good. But if you do have those rare applications, or just from a convenience factor, you don't want to have to mess with sockets and sticks and everything like that. This is a really good one. You can unroll it, and it has a system that allows you to mount it and pretty much just fully stretches it out, where it's almost like a rope ladder. You can just undo it, hook it up, get it lit up, and you're good to go.
Okay, let's move on to border lighting.
Yep. So again, 12 versus 24, we have the color line and the Street Wrap Flex Mini. On the 24-volt side, we have the Flexi Bright 24, LED stripe, and then the various versions of the Street Wrap Flex, back bend, side bend, wide, Gen 2, and then Flex Pod. Looking at color line, this is going to be a really good application for a thinner border. I would say that the profile is pretty similar. It's definitely bigger, but pretty similar to, at a distance, to neon. So if you have a customer out there that wants to do a border type job or wrap their building, anything in that nature, and still wants that thinner profile look that you get from old school neon, this is going to be something that really works well. This is also used quite a bit in large scale applications of letters. There are a number of jobs we've done out there that have these being used to on the top of stadiums, where you can see it from a plane as you're flying in, and really do a good job of creating a very bold look for your sign that wants to draw attention. FlexiBright 24. Again, this is going to be something that's very similar to the side bend flex, or sorry, the flex side bend, where you can use it because the profile, it's a pretty thick, pretty wide profile for a side bend product. However, that makes it very versatile. You can use this in linear runs for something similar to the color line that we just looked at, where you can do the straight runs if you want to, but especially if you're on the side of a building, now that it's flexible, it makes it a lot easier for installation, because if you do come to a point that you need to curve it up at a really sharp angle, you have a flexible silicone-based product that will allow you to achieve that without having to, terminate a point and then start a new one.
Derek, I want to stop for just a second. I missed this in the chat a second ago. So on the sticks, we use the stick connector for sticks. Can you clarify on which ones that comes on and which ones it does not get offered on?
Yes. So as of right now, they will come on all of the formerly, all the sticks that were on the principal side before. So Tap Out, Pinnacle, Synergy, things of that nature. Well, Synergy launched together, but you know what I mean. Anyway, sorry. Anything from that end of things that's on the retrofit extrusion that was from PLED will have it if it's over 96 inches in size. And the reason for that is primarily to combat the extra shipping charges that you will get if you go over 8 feet on a pallet. Right now, it does not come on Prism. And that may, we may do something sooner than later where we transition the Prism to that same extrusion so that we can take advantage of that. But for right now, that is not available on the beam.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt on the border. We'll jump back to that.
Mhm. Or we can go to the next one. Lead stripe. So this is going to be a similar application to the color line, except it does have a thicker profile to it. So again, this is going to be for architectural applications, border wrapping, things of that nature. But kind of the opposite of what I said before, if you have someone that wants that, but wants a bigger profile than what neon or color line might provide, this will be an excellent option to achieve those. Okay, backbend. This is going to be one of the flexible products on the from the original PLED side of things, and this is going to be good for, again, wrapping buildings. This is what I would highly suggest for doing that, for wrapping buildings. You could also do the inside of door jambs and windows, thing, like you might see on different storefronts. But this is going to be one that if you were mounting it to the side of the building and you come to a corner, you can wrap around and keep going, just like you could with the FlexiBrite. But the FlexiBrite is more of a side-to-side bend, and this one bends back on itself, just like I believe the next one is side bend.
Oh, yeah, we just
Which is
included the one. Yeah.
Mini's fine too because it does the same bend. This is I don't think we have the thing on there for side bend since we had FlexiBrite. But another thing I failed to mention, neglected to on the side, the FlexiBrite, is that due to the way that the mini product we have on the screen, the side bend and the FlexiBrite bend, if you did have a script letter or design application on the side of a wall, these are going to be the products that can achieve that. The mini in particular is probably going to be the best one for it, just because of the size. It is a very small size, but because of the construction, it also has one of the leading cut resolutions in the industry. You can cut this every, I believe, yeah, as you can see here, it's a little over 1/4 of an inch on the whites and the red, and then everything in blue, green, yellow, and orange is a 1/4 inch cut mark. So a lot of the products that we've seen so far have 2 to 4 inch cut sections, which is why we offer the layout program. So our team can go through and figure out, okay, based on the design you want to do and the limitations of the cut resolution on different products, what does it look like? What are you going to need in the field in order to achieve this application? This one's not really hung up on that. This one, because it is pretty much every 1/4 inch that you can cut, really gives it a lot of versatility and can achieve most of the designs you're going to be looking for, even on a small scale, because the larger profiles are going to be limited on how far they can bend as well. This is going to be something that can bend back on itself and really do the small, intricate type signs.
Yeah, and I don't think we included the wide profile specs on here today, but it does get even larger. So we went smaller and then it goes larger as well.
Right. So on the back bend one that we looked at, there is another version of that is similar in application where you would do border on a building, but instead of a 1 inch wide profile, it has a little over 2 inches. So again, we're just offering things that they overlap, they do a lot of the same stuff, but it all depends on what the end user wants. How big and bold do they want their stuff to be?
Yeah, and this next one's a good example of just a spin-off on the rest of the flex.
Yep. So one thing that we've had for a while, that if you're from the Sloan side of things, the poster box, and then on the PLED end, we've had the pod products for years. And we got to the point where while those modules are designed for edge lighting cabinets, as I mentioned earlier, they also started getting used for accent lighting and cove lighting. And this product is kind of the next version of that. One bit of feedback that you can get with using either poster box or pod is that as modules, if you were to use them in cove lighting, they provide a good effect. However, if on the off chance you have someone like a customer walking up and looking up, they're going to see every single individual diode. So it achieves what it's supposed to, but it's not maybe the most aesthetically pleasing if it is something that gets looked at directly. This solves that. This is the same optic that's going to throw the same amount of light at the same angles and spread where you can provide a wash on the wall or cove lighting, but it is encased in the silicone jacket. So you can just put it one track up, slide this in and hook it up, and it's a much cleaner look for those kind of applications.
Derek, I'm noticing that our side bin did get included out of order for some reason here, so.
That's fine. So I won't spend too much time on this one, but similar to the FlexiBright, just a slightly different profile. Again, script letters, you can still do border in this if you want to, just a wide variety of options that you can make work for this.
Yeah, so all that to say, a lot of options on border. We do have a question. Do the street wrap products all come in white when it's not lit, or are they daytime colors like FlexiBright?
So yes, they're all color coded. So the red, blue, if you're talking about red, blue, and green, those are all going to match when they're on or off. So if it's blue, it'll be blue, green is green, red is red. The only exception that you might see, especially like on this page, you can see here, the three colors at the bottom that you see, the amber, the pink, I'm sorry, the cyan, amber, and pink, those will not be color matched, because to achieve those, what we do is we take the RGB version, which is a white jacket, and when we build it, we just solder the different colors together to achieve that before it goes out the door. So those won't be color matched, but all the other standard single color options will be.
Okay, then let's jump into maybe some of the architectural products.
Sure. So this is a relatively new offering for us. We did launch this one earlier this year as well. And they are, I mean, they're pretty straightforward. These are going to be architectural lights. We call it the Showcase series, and they come in spotlights, washers, and this one is a circular washer. We also have a circular spotlight one that's a narrower beam, and you can go through and see all the different options. As you can see here, it's a 30 and a 60 for this one. It comes in I'm sorry, this one does not come in different CCTs. This one is RGBW only. Something to note on some of these, which I'll point out when this isn't the case, but because of how these are used and that they're all low voltage products, this does have to be used hand in hand with our principal services division, because they all have to be programmed with one of our DMX systems before they go out the door.
Yeah, and we just included the RGBW versions on today's presentation, but as Derek started to say, they are available in the whites.
Yes, and the white ones do not have to have the programming, because obviously it's just on or off. But if it's anything RGBW in these lines, they will have to have the principal services division involved. So linear RGB as well, same setup. We have a long version and short version. It's a 1 foot and a 1 meter version, so 3.28 feet and 1 foot. And then you can see the different outputs. There is a 4000K in this one. We have the RGBW as well. And they come in a 12 and a 36 watt version.
Okay, so we'll get into some of the controllers for these RGBW products and,
Yep.
and single colors too.
So sticking with our good, better, best, though these are out of order, we kind of just put the one in the middle that is the pinnacle, so to speak, of the control world. You've got a straightforward dial color. This is going to be something I would recommend if you have a channel letter set or a sign with a wash or something of that kind that your customer isn't interested in the actual color changing. They just want to achieve a specific color. So, you know, it's a high school and they say, hey, our colors are this specific orange, this specific blue. You can usually find those colors online with color coordinates for RGB. You can move these knobs until they achieve those, and then from there, it'll just stay static. This is something that you change it, put it to where you want it, and then lock it up in a box and never touch it again or worry about it. On the right-hand side, this is our newest offering. This is our RGBW remote and control. This one is a rare UL unit. As you can see, it has the threads on both the input and output to make sure that you have a situation where you're not going to have any water ingress. They are IP67, and we're right now focusing just on the controller that you can see there, the remote. You can do up to 8 different zones, and all that means is that if you had a letter set that said RGB, just an example, you could have this set up where you could control each zone individually, with zone 1 being R, zone 2 being G, and the last one being B. You do have some people out there that want to be able to make it alternate without actually having the DMX or the chasing function, and you can cheat, so to speak, and use these to achieve that. The last one in the middle is what I mentioned earlier, that you would need for the RGBW application for the showcase series. But we also recommend, anytime you send in an RGB layout, our team in the estimating department will, if the salesperson's not sending it to you, the inside rep will, and it's an RGB checklist. The reason that I really want to drive home on why this checklist is so important if you do come across an RGB application is the questions on there and their answers really will help dictate which of these options need to be used. Because if you've got a sign or an application where it turns out, your customer isn't wanting to spend a whole lot and they want a handheld system, but the more we start looking at it, you're talking about wrapping an entire building while also controlling a set of channel letters on the front that are color changing, or you just have this massive application with a couple, tens of different drivers that are going to have amplifiers, this, that, or the other. We're going to drive more towards the infinity system. And the reason being is that this is a lot more versatile. It is highly individualized per job. And some part of what makes that unique is our onboard professional, Gary Colburn. He will look through that checklist, work with your customer, work with you to figure out what are you looking for. And if you have a customer that says, hey, I want to be able to control this at the bottom floor of my hotel as the manager, and I want to control it from my laptop, we can program it and work with it to do this. But if they're saying, hey, that, again, going back to the checklist, they may want that functionality, but say they want the price of a handheld controller, and bottom line, there are certain things that it can and can't do, and there are limitations for all of these. And that's why we really, it may seem like we're just being a pain when we ask these questions and ask for that checklist, but it's a really important one to do to make sure that, we don't try to give them something that doesn't work and then have to come back later and fix it for even more than what we would have spent if we had just done this to begin with.
Yeah, and there's a lot to the DMX control and what goes into those jobs. So please feel free to visit our principal services website as well, which includes a lot of training videos and more to come there as well on just some of the terminology we use and how to think about accomplishing those jobs. Okay, so the last thing we're going to jump into is power supplies. I know it's a little bit out of order, but we want to cover these. They're not all listed on individually with their specs, but this is our comprehensive list of power supplies that Derek can talk you through.
So on the left-hand side for 12 volt, you can see that there's a wide range of different energizers that come in different wattages, depending on the application. There's also a threaded option that we'll get into as well. We do, for both 12 and 24 volt, have a micro driver that is a super small profile for if you're doing self-contained letters or have an application that is very, very limited on space. These are an excellent use. We also have a 3-channel output for both 12 and 24. In the 12 volt version, it's the 180, and the 24 volt is the 300. And we also have the HE series, as we talked about earlier.
Any individual questions on these power supplies? I just want to be cognizant of time and allow for some questions at the end. So if we don't have any, we may not talk through individually, but just know those are on the new principalsloan.com website, and we're always happy to help there. So we're going to jump over these and just very quickly talk about the layout capabilities. I know we talked on this initially at the beginning. So we have the easy layout builder offered on the new Principal Sloan site, where you can do layouts quickly from the web and from your desk and get back those quotes in a timely manner. We also offer the LED Wizard 8, which is the software used by our internal team for laying out layouts. And it is offered for free, so you can download that to your desktop. We have an extensive library of trainings on LED Wizard 8 and how to use that software. And then again, like I mentioned, we have our layouts team on the inside. So for programs or for big jobs that are complex, or for border layouts, our layout team is here working 5 days a week and putting those layouts out for you guys with these different products. So just keep these options in mind. We always want to do what we can to simplify the lives of our customers, and part of the way we do that is through these layout options. And then finally, we have just a quick view of our outside sales team in the States. So if you are looking for your sales rep in that area, they should be listed here, and we can help get you in touch if you haven't already been in touch with them. But as you can see, we have a large team across the country that's there to serve and cover really every corner of the country. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to send those into the questions and answer section right now. We're happy to answer those. And if not, Daryl, Sam, do you guys have anything you'd like to add before we finish up today?
No, I think we're good to go.
Okay. Well, then from our side, that's what we have for you today. Thank you so much for being on the call. It's great to see a lot of your names coming across the screen. And as always, if there's something we can help you with, please reach out. Tara, we'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you all. We appreciate you for reviewing the Principal Sloan product line. We appreciate all of you that attended as well. If you have any other questions that you might think of afterwards, you can always reach us at marketing@tubelight.com, and we will be happy to get the answers for you. So thank you, everyone, and have a great day.